It's good to see you. Hello, and welcome to this little video. In tonight's video, I wanted to talk about some books I've been reading lately, do a little reading wrap-up. But I also feel I would be remiss not to do some kind of check-in. So I decided to do a video that's going to start with a little intro, a little mood check about how I am, how you are, and then we'll move into some books. So I'm doing all right, but I have been very tired recently. This is the first video I've filmed since the election results. If for some reason you don't know, the US had an election earlier this month, and I don't want to talk about the results too much because this video's not about that, but at the same time I've been feeling some kind of way, and I know other people have been feeling some kind of way also. And so I wanted in part to acknowledge that. I've been really tired and oscillating between different emotions. So if that clocks for you in my mood at all, that would be why. I also wanted to say to you, that I hope you are doing super well, and if you are not, that is okay too. I just hope for you that you're feeling okay. For me, I feel tethered by remembering it's important to take things one day at a time. And I've also felt much better when I have gone out in public. Being in public has felt really good to me, and connecting even in small ways with people in my neighborhood, or just the people who live around me, the people who are in the store or in the coffee shop, as well as connecting with my community, being in community, reaching out to friends to process how we're feeling or to just check in and remember that there are supports around me and there are supports around you, and being in community and being in public for me personally has been something that has been helping my mood. Finally, for this part of the video, I just wanted to share with you two things, I guess, now that I'm thinking of it. One, about the community bit. I read an essay recently from a newsletter called Maybe Baby. I'll link it down below. It's not really about the election, but it's tangentially related to the election. And in short, she just talks about the power of being in public your neighborhood and community and feeling less isolated. Modern life makes it so easy to feel isolated, to stay isolated, to feel enclosed, to feel alone, to feel indifferent to or disconnected from others around you. And sometimes that comes from wanting to conserve energy or to stay safe. But there's so much energy and joy and connection to be found in going outside and just interacting with people in public places, even in the smallest of ways. So I'm going to link that down below. It's not, it's for such an important topic at an important time. It's not a heavy read, so if you're feeling like you want to digest something, but you don't have the bandwidth to digest a lot right now or today, this might be a place to start. Secondly, I pulled some I Ching cards earlier this month. I think November 6th or 7th I pulled them. If you don't know how to cast the I Ching with coins, I have a video on my Patreon about that, but basically they're selected at random and one card represents the present energy, the present moment, and the second card represents what that energy is changing into. And these cards just spoke really strongly to me. I was kind of amazed, and I've been thinking about them a lot in the past week. So I thought I would share them with you. And I'll just read from the book. I won't try to force any kind of interpretation onto them for the purposes of this video, or apply interpretation to them. I think they speak for themselves. So, the first card is Shock. Thunder above, thunder below. And the second card is Returning. So that's Earth above, thunder below. So the changing line is the 1, 2, 3, 4th line. You can see it was Yang and turned Yin. So which is shock or jump. This is also the Visionary I Ching. That's what the deck is called, and it's wonderful. One hears thunder unexpectedly. First comes fear, then a sharpened vision. The lasting impact of a major shock can be stimulating or debilitating, depending upon your perspective. The critical factor is a willingness to be open to fear rather than running away from it, enabling you to transform anxiety into laser-sharp perception. There can be a positive side to shock. We tend to think of shock only in terms of unpleasant events. We can also be jarred, however, by the release of tension that comes with unexpected success. To keep your bearings in the aftershock of either trauma or victory, it is essential that your inner compass be aligned with the magnetic force that guides you towards fulfillment of your deepest desires and your highest destiny. Prepare yourself to take some jarring surprise and stride. Meditate a little to find your center. A calm reaction to the losses and gains that may arise will help you surmount these shocks to your system. So that's the current energy. And And you also read any changing lines. We just have one. So line 4, changing from yang energy to yin, says, a nimble mind evades onrushing fate like a matador twirls away from a charging bull. But even a nimble mind can become mired in muddled or jarring circumstances. Sometimes when you are stuck, you become a target for the horns of fate. If you had a clear problem, you could do something about it. But for now, don't force anything. Just try to keep your wits about you until the dust settles. So this shock is changing into this new energy called returning. And that is number 24. Returning, otherwise known as a turning point, recharges you and eventually brings success. This hexagram is associated with the turning of darkness back toward the light, with the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, the day when darkness begins to decrease and the hours of daylight start to increase. This is the cusp of a turnaround, a time for letting go of the old and making way for the new, a time of new beginnings, and it all starts with rest. Don't move too fast, as a new momentum is just beginning. This turnaround requires that your energy be recharged by adequate rest, so that your life force is not depleted prematurely. This principle of hibernation, of allowing energy to renew itself and be strengthened by rest, applies to many situations. Recuperation after an illness, the slow return of trust after a period of estrangement, the careful development of new relationships after the splitting apart of old ones. Returning, which is earth above, thunder below. You can see almost, it's like a cave-like image with almost phosphorescent, glowing orbs or points up here. Anyway, these have really resonated with me. The shock, the clarity of vision that comes with that and of perception, and also the need to hibernate now to be able to act with strength later. So I share those with you in case they resonate with you as well. Please take care of yourself and know that I am always here. There's a community here, and I care about you. Okay, now for the book part. If you watched the first part, the mood check, then you'll know that I said that I've been tired lately. I haven't been able to focus like usual. Probably for the past 2 months, I've not been very focused as a reader, in part, and that's okay. Strangely, now, even though I have other feelings, I have also had a return of focus. I'm more focused now than I was like a month ago, or even 2 weeks ago. So, getting back into reading, this to say, I don't have as many books as I had planned for this video. I wanted to do like, in my notes, it was like a big reading wrap up. It was going to be 10 books. I definitely had enough time to read them. I wasn't pushing myself, but the focus wasn't there. So today I have 6 books for you, and 2 of them I'm still in the process of reading. So that's just where we're at. But I'm excited to share them with you, nevertheless. The first one is Happiness as Such. continuing my Natalia Ginsburg kick. I really enjoyed this book, as I have everything I've read of her so far. I've read 4 now. I would rank this 4th, but it's still excellent. So if you haven't read her before, my personal favorites are Sagittarius, then Valentino, then The Dry Heart, then Happiness as Such. I don't know if that has anything to do with the order I read them in. Like, I was talking to the bookshop person about Natalia Ginsburg and how she got us out of a reading rut. And she read The Dry Heart first and said it was by far her favorite. They're all great. You can't go wrong. And I recently bought another book by Natalia Ginsburg, but that's for another video. This one is epistolary, which means that it's written in the form of letters. The whole thing is, not the whole thing, but probably like 90% of it is letters. Letters, not leathers. Letters. And essentially, it's been a while since I read this. I read it at the end of summer. This man goes missing. The son and the brother of a family just kind of skips off, they would think, and leaves a bunch of people hanging high and dry a bit. He means well, but he's not the most responsible, and he's dealing with some things. So his nagging mom and his worried sister and his friend and his ex-lover are all writing him, asking where he is, when he'll be back. He's writing other people too, asking his friend to find his sweater and things like that. And through the letters, you get different tones and ideas of each character. It's really a clever conceit, and she pulls it off so well. Of course, through the letters as well, you kind of can put together people's motivations for different things, and also what they are not saying. They are not saying. People are hiding some things for good reason, for fear of try not to spoil it, for fear of not being accepted, maybe. And it's great. I really liked it. But if you have not read Sagittarius, read Sagittarius, because I freaking love Sagittarius and I want to talk to people about it. So that's that. Okay. Then I read, also kind of at the end of summer, in the margins, by Elena Ferrante, with a tiny person and 2 eyes. So this book I found in a tiny library by me, I believe. I read it, and I think I know I'm going to be hanging on to it. I really liked it. Essentially about why she's a writer, why she made certain decisions for the books she wrote, how she framed them, what kind of narrative she chose, how it was as a child writing stories and practicing penmanship and not wanting to go out of the lines, but learning to break that parameter to her own benefit, and also her experience as a reader, the books that she has loved and thought about throughout her life. And it's just this book, these essays, which are really, they were all intended to be given as lectures. It's very full of life in pages. Do you know what I mean? Like the life and the magic of that comes with reading, that comes with writing, comes with storytelling. It's musings on that and her personal perspective and take on what it means to care about creating and consuming stories. So this was a very happy find for me in my little local tiny library, and I would definitely recommend it. I think one day I will likely reread it. I liked it enough to reread it. Then we have a book called Daughter by Claudia Day. I picked this one up used because I read an interview with her and she sounded fascinating, and she still does, but I did not finish this book, which surprised me. I was sure that I would. Let me show you how reflective this is. It's so reflective. I love that. But it's really funny because I read through the first section, maybe 100 pages, I want to say, and I felt very good about stopping. It wasn't like I fell off reading it and then didn't pick it back up. It's like I turned the page, reached the end of the section, and was like, I think I'm good just ending here. So that's also interesting because in the first section I was underlining things, not quite like a mad woman, but like I underlined a lot. But I really underlined a fair amount. Like, there's some, every other page there's some lines here and there. You know, I was into it. There were some good bits, but it just didn't make me wanna know more. It was just a very strange experience because normally to DNF a book, I have to really dislike it, and I don't dislike this. I just wasn't interested. But the story is objectively interesting. If you and tell them what's it about, Mauve, like what? If you didn't see the book haul where I introduced this book for the first time, it's about this complicated dude who's kind of a narcissist, and how he confesses to his daughter, his adult grown daughter, about the affair he's having. And it's not, he's no longer with his daughter's mother, he's with her stepmother, and he's having an affair. So he confesses it to his daughter, and the daughter and the stepmother really don't get along. The stepmother is kind of like a fairy tale stepmother in Cinderella, just like not very nice at all, and always made this daughter he's confessing to and her sister feel like they were less than. So the family dynamics are super complicated, really interesting. The prose in here is really good. A lot of the lines I underlined were about interesting family dynamics, or the language was really lovely, and I wanted to revisit some of that language, so I would underline like a description of the moon or something. But the plot, despite all the intrigue, just did not propel me forward at all. And there's this layer where the father is a famous playwright or has written a book, and the daughter wants to be a playwright also. And the father kind of insists on her adoration of him to like massage his ego, and then when she starts to get a little success or like a foothold as a playwright, he sort of secretly sabotages. He doesn't do anything in the real world, but he says cutting remarks to her and things like that. Fascinating, right? But I just didn't care. I stopped reading it and I don't miss it. Kind of brutal. And I'm sad that I didn't want to finish it more. But that's a me thing. If you've read it, please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. I liked it enough that I would still definitely pick up a book by this writer. But yeah, it's just done for me. Okay, then I read another slim one. It's called It Lasts Forever, and Then It's Over by Anne Markin. This is a kooky ass book, and I loved it. I don't know if I would necessarily reread it, like if I loved it, but I really loved it. I'd highly recommend it to just about anyone. It is the story of a seemingly young woman who is now a zombie. She's kind of died and become a zombie. She's the undead. And she's trying to navigate this new kind of apocalyptic world with other zombies while grieving the distance between her and someone she loved when she was still alive, someone she had a romantic partnership with. It's just wild, it's kooky. She's a zombie, so kooky speaks for itself. 'Cause it's not scary, really. There's definitely spooky stuff. It's a good one to read in fall or around Halloween, but really any time of year works because it's apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic. I'm trying not to give away details, but basically the way she behaves and the way she thinks about things, it's really interesting. It's really poignant when she remembers or reminisces about this person she loved and still loves. And the writing is poetic at times. It's very spare, not a long book at all. Also, the pages are like, got some room here. And, yeah, she just behaves and thinks in a really surprising way. The way the world works is surprising. And the combination of themes and moods and setting and tropes is very surprising. So, highly recommend. A delight. Oh, it's gonna fall. Okay. Then we have the two books that I'm still reading. One is The Apple in the Dark. Can you see The Apple in the Dark by Clarice Lispector? How gorgeous is this cover? I love this book. If you've read Clarice before, you know she is a witchy wordsmith. Phenomenal writer. And I love this book. It's so dense, line to line, with crazy thought and crazy syntax. And just like her elemental style, you know, it's just like brutal and brusque and like full of life. And because of that, this has been a slower read for me. Started maybe 2 months ago, and I'm only this far. This is the beginning. I'm here. This is the end. I'm not happy with that. But when I still had my focus, I was really trying to savor this one. That is still my intention for it. So my view is just kind of like, it's brilliant, and reading it will take as long as it takes. The last book I'm going to show you really quickly because there's a lot of commotion outside right now, and I'm very tired and I don't have the energy to wait through it. So I am also in the middle of reading Edinburgh by Alexander Chee. I'm a little over halfway through, and I'm really, really liking it. It's really good. The language is so evocative of these ages, moving from childhood to high school to college, when everything just kind of crackles with a sense of possibility. The language hits that so well. The story is so brilliant, and I don't know if brilliant's the word, but so true and pure and dark. The subject matter is dark, but it's such an essential story and so well written, so artfully done and beautiful. So I'm really enjoying it and would recommend it to you, although it is a little heavy, but it's great for fall. I thought it would be good for fall, and so far it has been great. Really liking it. So that's our little mood check reading wrap up. I hope you are doing super, super, super well, and if you're not, then it's okay too. I care about you. I'll talk to you very soon.